American tourism is in freefall, and if you're thinking this is just a bump in the road, think again. People don't feel safe. They don't feel welcome.
When it comes for vacation, I think there's other places I would rather go.
Once a dream destination, the United States is now seen by many as unsafe, uninviting, and outrageously expensive. And the numbers don't lie. Just in the first quarter of 2025, the tourism industry in major states lost over $29 billion. But it's not just about money. It's about millions of Americans whose livelihoods are hanging by a thread. For countless communities, tourism isn't just a business. It's identity. It's what keeps families rooted. It's what brings life to a city. Today, hotels sit vacant. Resort towns are eerily quiet. Tens of thousands of workers have seen their hours slashed or lost their jobs entirely. If this trend doesn't turn around soon, we may be looking at a total collapse. In this video, we'll uncover the 10 states currently on red alert as tourism declines at an alarming rate, and your home state might be one of them. Stick around to the end, because the last state on the list might genuinely shock you. A destination once considered untouchable is now circling the drain. Let's start with New York. New York once welcomed over 60 million tourists a year. Now, even Times Square feels like it's holding its breath. No one's stopping for selfies. No one's marveling at the LED billboards. The world-famous chaos? Quiet. From the Metropolitan Museum to the Museum of Modern Art, the city's crown jewels are gathering dust. Double-decker tour buses loop through Manhattan with more empty seats than passengers. And the rhythm of the city, once fueled by camera flashes and foreign accents, is out of sync. In just the first few months of 2025, the city's tourism revenues dropped by 38%. And with it, over 12,000 jobs vanished from the heart of Manhattan and Brooklyn. Restaurants closed their doors. Street performers packed up their gear. Retail shops flipped off their lights for good. Commercial rents in tourist hotspots have dropped nearly 20%, but it's not enough. The storefronts still sit empty, the for lease signs fluttering like surrender flags in the wind. And it's not just about money. New York has always been powered by outsiders, the travelers, dreamers, the curious, and the wide-eyed. Without them, the city feels dimmer. The hum of ambition is softer. The pulse of Manhattan, slower. On the surface, the skyline hasn't changed, but the energy, the soul of the city, is harder to find. To keep people afloat, fintech companies like Acorns are offering emergency budgeting tools for the unemployed. Chime is promoting paycheck advances and zero-fee overdrafts. And NYC Small Business Services has launched grants and support for struggling shops. But ask the servers, the bellhops, the bike tour guides, and they'll tell you these lifelines haven't reached most of them. They're still waiting, still wondering how long they can hang on. New York has survived a lot. Blackouts, recessions, even 9/11. This is different. This isn't a sudden blow. It's a slow fade. And here's the real question. If a global titan like New York, arguably the most resilient city in the world, can't keep its tourism heartbeat steady, what hope do the smaller cities have? Will this downturn be a blip in the timeline or the beginning of something more permanent? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Is New York just catching its breath? Or is the city that never sleeps finally starting to drift? If you ever imagined a golden morning in Miami, here's the reality. These days, more people are dreaming of affording breakfast than basking in the sun. Florida used to be the ultimate retirement fantasy. Every summer, it was packed with visitors from across the U.S. and around the world. But by 2025, that picture started to fade, and fast. This is Florida now. Vacant resorts, deserted beaches, hotels in Orlando, Miami, and Clearwater with for sale signs out front. Even world-famous theme parks are cutting their hours. They just don't have the visitors anymore. It doesn't take much, a broken policy, a shift in tone, for emotions to turn. And once tourists stop feeling welcome, No beach, no theme park, no sunset is enough to bring them back. The Pressman family, who spent years wintering in Florida and even planned to retire there, and when Canadians stop coming, when snowbirds stay away, it's not just about empty chairs at breakfast buffets, it's an entire economy unraveling. Here's what we know. Nearly 1.2 million Florida jobs are tied directly to tourism. In just 3 months, that figure has dropped 17%, and tax revenue from lodging services, a vital stream for many counties, is plunging, shaking local budgets to their core. In districts like Orange, Lee, and Monroe, unemployment benefit claims are climbing, but it doesn't stop there. Restaurants, gift shops, transportation, even small boat tours, they're all shutting down one by one. Families are losing their income. Young people are moving away. And what's left behind? Aging communities, uncertainty, and fear. What used to be a shared tradition, a family trip to Florida, now feels fragile and out of reach. Florida, once the land of sunshine, is now a place where many have lost the light in their hearts. Some local initiatives, like Neighbor Food and Volunteer Florida, are stepping up, offering food relief and short-term jobs to those hit hardest. But let's be honest, that's a Band-Aid. It won't fix the broken trust. If Florida, the crown jewel of American tourism, can no longer draw visitors, what hope is there for the rest? Is this just a passing storm or a sign of a permanent shift? We want to hear from you. What's your take? Drop a comment below and let us know where you think this is all headed. Las Vegas used to be the city that never sleeps. Now, most people here just wish they could sleep off the weight of overdue bills. The Strip, once a shimmering artery of life, light, and limitless energy, is dimming. This was the city of neon dreams, sold-out shows, and the thrill of the unknown. Now, the concert stages are dark, the casinos echo with silence, the magic slipping away. Iconic hotels like Luxor and Excalibur have shuttered entire nightlife wings just to stem the bleeding. Taxis sit idle in sun-baked lots. Bartenders polish glasses that no one is drinking from. Even the music, the heartbeat of Vegas, is gone. The city that never slept is slowly drifting into a restless slumber. Nevada's economy is built almost entirely on tourism. In Las Vegas alone, 65% of the city's GDP depends on it. And when that stream dries up, the consequences ripple far and wide. In the first 6 months of 2025, unemployment in the entertainment and hospitality sector skyrocketed by 23%. Hotel bookings on the Vegas Strip plunged more than 40%, slashing billions from the city's revenues. Behind every number is a face, the housekeeper who can't pay rent, a sound tech who hasn't seen a stage light in weeks, a blackjack dealer now flipping through job boards instead of cards. Las Vegas is no longer a playground of dreams. For many, it's becoming a haunting memory of better times. Nonprofits like Nevada Grant Lab and Artists Now are trying to catch the free fall, offering emergency grants to performers and backstage crews. But their reach is limited, and the need grows by the day. Some workers have turned to online platforms like Upwork and Fiverr to make ends meet. But let's be real. If you've spent your life running live shows, flipping rooms, or greeting guests with a smile, transitioning to remote work isn't easy, especially for older workers. Vegas once stood for possibility, for reinvention, for taking a risk and watching it pay off. But now the question looms. If the lights go out, who's left to turn them back on? And maybe more chilling, have we already moved on from that collective dream without even noticing? Next up, Arizona, a state without a Broadway stage or neon skyline, but with red rock cathedrals carved by wind, time, and the gods themselves. Once, the Grand Canyon echoed with footsteps, laughter, and the soft whir of camera shutters. RVs lined up at sunrise like pilgrims at a sacred site. Families gathered at overlook points, hikers braved the trails, and the red desert shimmered beneath the sky alive with motion. Now, even the sky looks still. The RVs are gone, the highways are quiet. The canyon echoes back only the wind. Since the start of 2025, RV parks in Sedona, Flagstaff, and Page have thinned to near empty lots. The lifeblood of these towns, gas stations, roadside diners, Navajo arts markets, mom-and-pop motels, is drying up. One by one, open signs switch off. Tours that once invited travelers to discover the wonders of Native American heritage, to trek through desert sanctuaries or take scenic flights above the canyon's ridges, have been canceled, postponed, or forgotten. According to the National Park Service, visitor numbers to the Grand Canyon have plunged by 41% in 2025. And for communities like Coconino and Mojave counties, where tourism once made up nearly 15% of the local economy, this is not a drop, it's a free fall. More than 800 small businesses, lodges, restaurants, cafes have closed in just the first half of the year. As travelers disappeared, so did jobs. As jobs disappeared, so did people. And with every family that packs up and leaves, Arizona's small-town spirit grows a little dimmer. It's a domino collapse. Services fail. Healthcare becomes scarce. The grocery store shuts its doors. And even retirees, once drawn here for the healing heat and serenity, are forced to leave. Not because they want to, but because what made Arizona livable is quietly vanishing. The red land, once a proud symbol of the untamed American West, now looks like a postcard left in the sun too long, faded at the edges, eerily still. Some locals are fighting to adapt, experimenting with platforms like HipCamp and Harvest Hosts, trying to merge tourism with small agriculture. A few residents are turning to tools like rocket money to stay afloat, tracking every expense, stretching what little remains. But the truth is hard to escape. If even the Grand Canyon, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, can't hold people anymore, what hope do the lesser-known places have? Arizona was built on wonder, wanderlust, and wide-open roads. Now those roads lead to silence. And the question left behind is this: if the tourists don't come back, will the people? Or will Arizona become a monument not just to geological time, but to the slow erosion of the American road trip dream? Welcome to Hawaii, where paradise is no longer a place you go, but a place people are quietly trying to leave. Once the crown jewel of global tourism, Hawaii stood as the ultimate escape. Lush, exotic, spiritual. But now, from the beaches of Waikiki to the rainforests of Hana, that postcard perfection is fraying at the edges. Tour groups are vanishing, tour agencies are shuttered, and the sprawling resorts that once overflowed with travelers from Japan, South Korea, and Australia, empty lobbies, silent pools, deserted beaches, even American tourists, once the safety net, have pulled back, discouraged by soaring prices and economic uncertainty. Hawaii is no longer seen as an accessible getaway. It's become a luxury few can justify, even fewer can afford. Tourism made up more than 21% of Hawaii's GDP. But by mid-2025, that revenue has plummeted by nearly 50%. And the fallout is everywhere, especially on Maui, where short-term rentals are experiencing the highest vacancy rates since the pandemic. Empty homes mean unpaid taxes. Unpaid taxes mean services cut. And it's a spiral the islands can't afford to keep spinning. In Lahaina, an elderly couple, locals for decades, once relied on their modest beachside Airbnb to support themselves and their grandchildren. For nearly 10 years, it worked, until this year, when the bookings stopped completely. And this isn't just about money, it's about culture, it's about identity. The vibrant luau festivals, the sound of slack key guitar at sunset, the welcoming spirit of aloha, once the heartbeat of island life, are fading. Bankruptcies are up, real estate is in free fall, and families who've lived here for generations are packing up and moving out. What's left behind? Empty houses, quiet streets, and a community that feels like it's dissolving one goodbye at a time. Some residents have turned to digital finance tools, platforms like SoFi or income insurance programs like those from MassMutual, to try to stay afloat. But for many, especially the elderly, the shift to online-only solutions is more confusing than comforting. Access is uneven, education is lacking, and time is running out. So how did we get here? How did one of the most iconic destinations in the world fall so far, so fast? Texas faced a similar storm in 2022. Tourism collapsed, jobs vanished, but they pivoted. They leaned into medical tourism, rural retreats, and eventually found a pulse again. So why hasn't Hawaii? With its unrivaled natural beauty and cultural richness, the potential is still here. But potential doesn't pay the bills, and hope alone can't save a sinking economy. What do you think? Can Hawaii rise again? Or are we watching paradise turn into a ghost of its former self? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. In Nashville, you used to hear music drifting from every bar, every corner, every cracked window. But this year, all you hear is the soft thud of shop doors closing and silence where a fiddle should be. On Broadway, the neon signs still glow, but fewer doors are open beneath them. The bars that once roared with live sets from sunrise to last call now take turns shutting down, each closure leaving another silence in its place. In the first quarter of 2025 alone, Tennessee's entertainment and event industries bled over $400 million in lost revenue. Hotel occupancy in downtown Nashville dropped by more than 35%. Independent artists, once the lifeblood of the city, are disappearing, applying for grants they may not receive, or packing up and leaving altogether. And then came the blow no one wanted to face. CMA Fest, Bonnaroo, postponed, scaled back, canceled. Not because of a virus this time, but because the crowd simply never showed up. Low ticket sales, high overhead, dreams deferred. Tour buses sit idle in parking lots. Souvenir shops gather dust. Studios stay quiet. And the city, once fueled by voices and verses, feels like it's lost its own. Because when the stage closes, an artist doesn't just lose a gig, they lose a piece of themselves. And when enough artists go silent, the city starts to forget its song. More and more locals are leaving. The cost of staying, for many, is too high. The once vibrant streets are now ghosted by echoes of ballads, of buskers, of what used to be. Some musicians are turning to platforms like Patreon or Ko-Fi, trying to keep their music alive by asking fans to help shoulder the burden directly. It's raw, vulnerable, and for some, their only hope. Others lean on services like Music Health Alliance, offering a safety net for those without one, health insurance, mental health support, a way to keep going when the applause has stopped. But as the crisis deepens, the question looms larger. When the music stops, what's left to hold the soul of a city together? Nashville was never just a place. It was a feeling, a sound, a shared heartbeat. And now, as it quiets, you can't help but wonder, will the music find its way back? Or are we witnessing the last verse of a song we didn't know was ending? South Carolina once offered something quietly magical, an escape that felt both timeless and deeply personal. Charleston's cobblestone streets, oak trees dripping in Spanish moss, and the slow rhythms of life on Hilton Head Island made the state a sanctuary for domestic travelers chasing tradition, charm, and sun-kissed afternoons by the sea. But in 2025, the slow has turned into stillness. Heritage tours have been canceled. Weekend bookings have all but vanished. Once bustling inns now stand with for sale signs on their front lawns. Over 25% of them in Hilton Head alone, just in the first quarter of the year. Historic districts that used to echo with footsteps, camera clicks, and conversation have gone quiet. Step outside today, and you'll hear only the wind brushing past shutters and the distant hum of what used to be. The numbers tell a bleak story. Unemployment in hospitality and food services is up more than 18% compared to last year. Domestic tourism spending has dropped by over $430 million, disrupting small supply chains, closing beloved restaurants, and fracturing a way of life built on shared experience. But this isn't just economic erosion, it's social unraveling. Many older residents who once sustained themselves by renting out guest rooms or vacation homes are now facing financial hardship, some no longer able to live independently. The tightly knit communities where generations once lived side by side are hollowing out. Laughter that once poured through screened porches and sunlit living rooms has faded, and the very land that holds the soul of the South risks becoming a mere footnote in history. In response, some communities are adapting. Platforms like Airbnb.org have stepped in, not for profit, but to support elderly homeowners through a new model of community-driven hospitality. Urban preservation initiatives like Main Street America are offering small grants to help towns preserve their unique charm. But these efforts, though meaningful, aren't yet large enough to mend what's unraveling. Tourism here wasn't just about postcards and packed itineraries, it was about connection. It was the soft hand of a grandmother serving biscuits made from her mother's recipe, the fisherman pointing out the same lighthouse his father once admired, the stories passed down not through books, but through visits. So now the question becomes, if the visitors don't come, who will listen to the stories? And if no one listens, what happens to the memory of a place? In South Carolina, tourism once bridged generations. But as that bridge weakens, we must ask, will the memories still stand, or will they vanish with the tide? Illinois once boasted the largest convention center in the United States, McCormick Place. More than just a building, it was the vibrant heart of Chicago, where ideas came to life and connections were forged. Hundreds of conferences, exhibitions, and global events filled its halls every year, drawing tens of thousands of visitors to the city. But in 2025, that vitality is fading fast. The Grand Main Hall now sits empty, its lights dimmed. One after another, major events have been canceled or shifted online. Hotels nearby face a crushing vacancy crisis. Restaurants close their doors early. Shuttle services idle in empty lots. This isn't just the loss of events, it's the collapse of an entire urban ecosystem. Without conference attendees, coffee shops lose customers, taxi drivers wait endlessly, event staff lose their jobs. The bustling streets that once thrived on this constant flow of visitors have gone eerily silent. Chicago, a city once celebrated for its diversity and innovation, is slowly losing its pulse. Some event organizers have adopted hybrid models, blending in-person and virtual attendance through platforms like Hopin and Zoom events. Yet with drastically fewer guests, this can't replace the economic lifeblood of face-to-face tourism. Individuals are trying to adapt, building new skills through LinkedIn Learning or creating online portfolios on Wix. But these efforts are small flickers against a backdrop of widespread struggle. The question hanging over Chicago is urgent. If people no longer come to meet, to learn, to connect, what becomes of a city built on those very gatherings? Can it hold on to its status as the Midwest's innovation hub, or is this the beginning of an inevitable decline? For now, Chicago waits. The convention halls are quiet, the streets are still, and the city wonders, when the world stops showing up, where does a city go from there? Louisiana, once a vibrant heartbeat of music and street festivals, now finds itself slowly fading into silence. New Orleans, the cultural jewel of the South, thrived on the pulse of jazz, the scent of Creole cooking, and the throngs of visitors drawn to its storied streets. But in 2025, that pulse is weakening. Mardi Gras and Jazz Fest, once the crown jewels of celebration, have either been canceled outright or reduced to shadows of their former selves. Bourbon Street, once ablaze with neon lights and endless revelry, now feels more like a forgotten relic. Its stages empty, the street bands silenced, the shops shuttered or operating on a skeleton schedule. According to the Southern United States Tourism Association, more than 45% of international tourists canceled trips to Louisiana in just the first half of 2025. Orleans Parish alone saw nearly 1,800 small businesses in entertainment and service industries suspend operations temporarily. The financial blow is staggering, over $290 million lost in canceled events, not counting the ripple effect through hotels, restaurants, and transportation. But this isn't just about dollars. It's the loss of a living culture. The music that once defined a city no longer has an audience. The festivals that kept traditions alive have become echoes. Even worse, the very people who grew up in the rhythm of New Orleans are beginning to doubt if anyone still values their heritage. This quiet disappearance isn't due to some grand calamity. It's happening because the city is being forgotten. Amid the darkness, sparks of hope flicker. Local artists and cultural groups are turning to crowdfunding platforms like GoFundMe and GiveButter, striving to resurrect intimate festivals and support performers left adrift. Preservation groups, including the National Trust for Historic Preservation, have reopened heritage funds, seeking to protect what remains. Yet the need for broader community support is urgent. When a city loses both its music and its hope, will the world still remember its name? Across the coast in Charleston, South Carolina, a city similarly steeped in history, an innovative model of indigenous community tourism and living museums has drawn visitors back. Could New Orleans follow this path, reclaiming its voice and spirit? Or will it continue to fade, its song silenced by time and neglect? The city stands at a crossroads between revival and oblivion. The question remains, will the soul of Louisiana's crown jewel be rekindled, or will it become a forgotten melody in America's cultural history? And finally, we come to a place that feels like the edge of the world, distant, cold, breathtaking. Yet no state feels the loss of tourism more deeply than Alaska. No more cruise ships gliding into misty harbors. No more camera shutters clicking at the sight of glaciers. Just the long silence of winter, stretching longer than ever. Alaska was once a dream made tangible every summer, when cruise ships docked in ports like Juneau and Skagway, turning quiet towns into crossroads of the world. But in 2025, those ships never came. The docks stood empty, and with them the dream quietly slipped away. The ripple effects have been devastating. With fewer tourists, circulation of goods has slowed to a crawl. Supply chains that once rode the wave of seasonal demand have stalled. Transportation costs have soared, prices have risen, and the purchasing power of local families, already stretched thin, has weakened further. Isolation isn't new to Alaskans, but this is something else entirely, a quiet detachment, a severing of connection. For a state so dependent on the movement of people, this isn't just economic decline, it's a fraying of the social fabric. Some have turned to digital lifelines, selling handmade goods on Etsy, launching local shops on Shopify. But with exorbitant shipping costs and logistical challenges, even entrepreneurship feels like a mountain too steep to climb. Community-led initiatives like the Buy Alaska program and local business funds through the Alaska Community Foundation are trying to keep hope alive, but the resources are limited and the challenges vast. And so the question lingers, if the world no longer comes to see Alaska, does its beauty still echo the same? If the silence of the mountains is heard only by those who must leave them, what remains of the dream? Have you ever longed to see Alaska? Do you still believe it's a place worth knowing? Or are we watching it fade into a distant memory an untold story frozen in time. These are the 10 states now living through an invisible crisis, not triggered by disaster but by absence. Tourism is not just an industry, it's the heartbeat of memory, the rhythm of a community. It connects one stranger's visit to another person's livelihood. It sustains the stories of elders, the ambitions of youth, and the soul of a place that believes it matters to someone, somewhere, out there. From Miami's beaches to Juneau's icy harbors, the footsteps of travelers have long brought life to local economies, culture, and spirit. But now the airports are hushed, the hotels sit dark, and the communities that once relied on a single busy season are dissolving, quietly, painfully. There's no headline, no grand event, just emptiness. And sometimes that's all it takes to make a town disappear. For some, travel is a luxury, but for millions of Americans, it's a job, a dream, a connection to purpose. When tourism collapses, we don't just lose revenue, we risk losing pieces of our shared humanity. The diner waitress who remembers your name, the jazz band on the corner, the street where every face once smiled at a new arrival. Is your state changing too? Are the festivals gone? Are the shops dimmed? Are the familiar faces you once saw each summer now just part of the past? Tell us. Let us not be the last ones asking the question. If this story resonates with you, share it. Not to spread fear, but to remind us what we're on the verge of losing and what we can still save. This video is not meant to accuse or assign blame. It is a reflection of where we are, grounded in real data and lived experience. Our goal is simple, to raise awareness and restore care where it's slipping away. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Your attention is what keeps stories like these alive and gives them a chance to matter. We'll see you next time on another journey into the heart of America. Not just through numbers, but through the lives of those who call it home.